All right, so everyone's been talking about AI lately, and for good reason. It's changing everything. And today, we're going to dive into something particularly wild, a potential shakeup in the world of artificial intelligence. You know how everyone's buzzing about ChatGPT, right?
Yeah.
The billions behind it. Well, there's this new player on the scene called DeepSeek, and it's making some serious waves. What's got everyone talking is not just what it can do, but how it was created. It's almost like a David versus Goliath story, but with a twist.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like comparing two completely different approaches to innovation. You've got OpenAI on the one hand, backed by Microsoft and billions of dollars. And then on the other hand, you have DeepSeek, a project coming out of this little-known Chinese startup, barely a year old.
Mhm.
And they built this thing on a shockingly small budget. We're
Yep.
talking $5.5 million versus OpenAI's $10 billion plus.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? And here's the kicker. DeepSeek is supposedly 50 times more powerful than ChatGPT. It's like they found a shortcut to AI development that everyone else missed. And the craziest part, they're not even keeping it a secret. DeepSeek is completely open source.
And that open source aspect, that's what really changes the game. Think about it, ChatGPT. It needs those hefty subscriptions and all that investor money to keep running. DeepSeek, on the other hand, it's like they're giving away the keys to the kingdom.
That's got to have some people sweating bullets, especially those who've poured a fortune into traditional AI development. If DeepSeek actually lives up to the hype, all those billions invested in proprietary AI models, well, they might start to seem a lot less secure.
Absolutely. It challenges everything we think we know about innovation and investment in the tech world. You know, the source even points out that U.S. companies like Google, Amazon, Microsoft, they're spending something like $250 billion a year on AI collectively.
Yeah.
What are they getting for that investment compared to what DeepSeek achieved with a fraction of the resources?
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? But it's not even just about the money. DeepSeek reportedly uses something like 20 to 30 times fewer GPUs for training compared to GPT-4. And for anyone who doesn't speak tech talk, GPUs are those super powerful computer chips that are essential for training AI models. Fewer GPUs means lower costs, not just for developing the AI, but for actually running it as well, which could be huge.
Oh, yeah, that efficiency is key. Think
Mhm.
about it. Let's say you're a business and you want to start integrating AI into your operations. If DeepSeek can deliver similar or even better performance at a fraction of the computational cost that completely changes the game, suddenly really powerful AI becomes accessible to a much wider range of players, not just those with deep pockets.
And what about the impact on companies like NVIDIA? You know, the ones who actually make those high-end GPUs. The source mentioned that their stock is already starting to dip. Could this be a sign of a much broader market shift? They even use the term Minsky moment, which sounds a little ominous.
Yeah, a Minsky moment. Well, it's kind of like a sudden reality check for the market. It's when asset values, in this case we're talking about tech stocks, they take a tumble after a period of, let's just say, overly optimistic growth. Think of it like a bubble bursting. And what the source is suggesting is that U.S. tech stocks might be in a bubble right now.
So DeepSeek could be the pinprick that exposes those vulnerabilities.
Right, and it makes you wonder if it's just about the tech itself.
Because there's a whole geopolitical layer to this too, isn't there?
Yeah, hard to ignore the timing, you know. The source pointed out that China chose to unveil DeepSeek right after this big political shift. It's definitely a statement about their ambitions in the tech world.
It's like they're saying, hey, we're here and we're playing by our own rules.
Yeah.
You know, there was this whole narrative about how the U.S. trying to limit China's access to advanced chips would slow them down in the AI race.
Yeah,
But DeepSeek kind of flipped that on its head.
exactly. It raises some interesting questions about how effective those sanctions really are. You know, the source specifically mentioned that China's still finding ways to acquire those chips, which are absolutely crucial for AI development. And not only that, but they're also investing heavily in developing their own domestic chip manufacturing capabilities. They're
Yeah.
clearly in it for the long haul.
So it's not just about one AI model. It's about a fundamentally different approach to tech development, a different way of thinking about innovation. And then there's that whole open source thing again. That's not just a tech decision. It's a statement.
It's a huge statement. Think
Yeah.
about it. Traditional AI development, it's all proprietary. Everything's locked away. DeepSeek throws the doors wide open. It's less like a company and more like a public resource, a shared infrastructure for AI, which is incredibly powerful.
It's like they're saying, let's build this together. It makes you wonder what kind of innovations could come out of that. When you have a global community of developers all tinkering with and improving this technology, what could that unlock?
It's really exciting to think about, imagine researchers from all over the world collaborating on medical breakthroughs, using DeepSeek or startups, building these innovative new products. This kind of open access could really democratize AI development.
Okay, so let's bring this back down to earth for a second. What does all this mean for you and me? What are the practical implications of this potential shift in the AI landscape?
Well, on a very basic level, it means we could be on the verge of a world where incredibly powerful AI is readily available and potentially much cheaper to use. Imagine the possibilities. Maybe you're a teacher and you can personalize lessons for every single student. Or maybe you're a doctor and you can use AI to analyze medical images with much greater accuracy.
Or maybe you're an artist and you can use AI as a creative partner, generating new ideas and pushing the boundaries of your art. The potential applications are kind of mind-boggling.
Absolutely. And the source highlights some specific areas where this could have a major impact. They talk about the Magnificent Seven, those seven giant tech companies that make up a huge chunk of the S&P 500, companies like Apple, Microsoft, Amazon. If DeepSeek disrupts their core businesses, that could send shockwaves through the entire market.
And remember those chip makers we talked about earlier,
Huh.
like NVIDIA. Their stock dips might just be the tip of the iceberg if demand for those high-end chips really falls because DeepSeek is so much more efficient. It's like a domino effect.
Exactly. And the implications go far beyond just economics. If DeepSeek becomes this public infrastructure for AI, how do we ensure that it's used ethically and responsibly? Who controls it? These are big questions we need to be grappling with.
Yeah, so DeepSeek could be that pinprick, that exposes the vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
But is it just about the tech? There's that whole geopolitical layer to this too, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's hard to ignore the timing. The source pointed out that China, they chose to unveil DeepSeek right on the heels of this political shift. It sends a message
What kind of message?
about their ambitions in the tech world.
Yeah, it's like they're saying, hey, we're here
Yeah.
and we're playing by our own rules.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that whole narrative about the U.S., trying to limit China's access to advanced chips? Everyone was saying that would slow them down in the AI race.
Mm.
But DeepSeek kind of flips that on its head.
Right. It raises some interesting questions, like how effective are those sanctions, really? I mean, the source specifically mentioned that China is still finding ways to get those chips, the ones that are crucial for AI development.
So they're getting around the sanctions.
Yeah, and not only that, but they're also investing a ton of money in developing their own domestic chip manufacturing capabilities. So, they're not just trying to catch up. They're in it for the long haul.
So it's not just about this one AI model. It's about a whole different approach to tech development, a different way of thinking about innovation. And then there's that whole open source thing again. That's not just a tech decision, is it? It's a statement.
It's a huge statement. I mean, think about it. With traditional AI development, everything is proprietary. It's all locked away. DeepSeek is like throwing the doors open. It's less like a company and more like a public resource, a shared infrastructure for AI.
Which is incredibly powerful if you think about it.
Oh, yeah, it is.
It's like they're saying, let's build this together. And that makes you wonder, what kind of innovations could emerge when you have a global community of developers all tinkering with and improving on this technology? What could we unlock?
It's really exciting to think about. Imagine, researchers from all over the world, they're collaborating on medical breakthroughs using DeepSeek, or startups building these innovative new products. This kind of open access could really democratize AI development.
Okay, so let's bring this back down to earth for a second.
Yeah.
What does all of this mean for, you and me? What are the practical implications of this potential shift in the AI landscape?
Well, I think on a very basic level, it means that we could be on the verge of a world where incredibly powerful AI is readily available and potentially much cheaper to use. I mean, imagine the possibilities. Maybe you're a teacher and you can suddenly personalize lessons for every single student. Or maybe you're a doctor and you can use AI to analyze medical images with so much more accuracy.
Or maybe you're an artist and you can use AI as like a creative partner to generate new ideas and push the boundaries of your art. The potential applications are mind-boggling.
Yeah, they really are. And the source actually highlights some specific areas where this could have a major impact. They talk about the Magnificent Seven, those seven giant tech companies that make up, a huge part of the S&P 500, companies like Apple, Microsoft, Amazon. If DeepSeek disrupts their core businesses, I mean, that could send shockwaves through the entire market.
And remember those chip makers we talked about earlier? Like NVIDIA. If the demand for those high-end chips really falls because DeepSeek is so much more efficient, well, their stock dips might just be the tip of the iceberg. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like a domino effect. And I think the implications go way beyond just economics. If DeepSeek really does become this public infrastructure for AI, well, then how do we ensure it's used ethically and responsibly? Who gets to control it? These are some big questions we need to be asking.
It feels like we're at this crossroads.
Yeah.
For so long, the story around AI has been about who has the most money, the biggest budgets,
Yeah.
the most powerful computers. But DeepSeek seems to be changing all the rules.
It really makes you think. It's a powerful reminder that innovation isn't always about brute force. Sometimes it's about ingenuity efficiency and a willingness to challenge how things have always been done.
Yeah.
DeepSeek's open source approach is a great example of that. It really throws a wrench into those traditional models of tech development.
It's like they're betting on the power of collective intelligence, right?
Yeah.
The idea that sharing knowledge can actually lead to breakthroughs that no single company or country could achieve on its own. It's a pretty bold move.
Yeah.
But is it a gamble that's going to pay off?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And I think it goes beyond just DeepSeek's success or failure as a technology. It's about what kind of future we're building for AI. If DeepSeek really does become this global shared resource for AI development, what does that mean for the world?
It's exciting and a little bit daunting all at the same time.
Hmm.
On the one hand, you can imagine a future where AI helps us solve some of the world's biggest problems,
Mm-hmm.
like climate change or disease. But on the other hand, you have to wonder, who gets to decide how this incredibly powerful technology is used?
It's a question we should all be thinking about. Not just policymakers and tech experts. The future of AI isn't something that's just going to happen to us. It's something we're all creating together right now.
So where does that leave us? What are we supposed to do with all of this information? With all of this uncertainty?
Well, first of all, don't panic. Change is going to happen. It's inevitable, especially in the world of technology. But that doesn't mean we're powerless. The key is to stay informed, keep learning, and keep asking questions.
The more we understand about these developments, the better equipped we'll be to handle the changes that are coming. And who knows, maybe some of you listening will be the ones to shape that future.
Maybe you'll be the ones building the next DeepSeek or finding new ways to use AI to make a real positive impact on the world. I mean, the possibilities really are endless.
Well, this deep dive has certainly given me a lot to think about. DeepSeek is more than just a new AI model. It's a catalyst for a whole new conversation about the future of technology, innovation, and global collaboration.
And here's a final thought to leave you with. If DeepSeek truly becomes this global public infrastructure for AI, what will that mean for the balance of power in the tech world? Will it spark a new era of cooperation, or will it become a new battleground for control and influence?
Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, this is just the beginning of the story. So stay curious, stay engaged, and keep your eyes on the horizon. The future of AI is unfolding right in front of us, and it is going to be a wild ride. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.